Happy Yule, everyone. Let's wait for some people to come in. It is right at 3 o'clock Central Time on the dot. People are just getting notified that I am going live in the group. So let's wait for some people to come in before we get started. Let's make sure I am going live, or I need to be going live at. So let's see. Hey Renee, how are you? I think we're going live. It says 12 days of Christmas. Make sure I'm gonna pull the group up just to make sure, because Facebook has been wonky. Yeah, there I am. Facebook has been wonky, especially with this new layout. So I just want to make sure I'm in the right place. So hello Renee, thank you for joining me live today. We are in the middle, almost a couple of days into the start of the 12 days of Christmas Tele Summit, if I can talk. So I'm so excited to be here again for the 12 days of Christmas. Oh my gosh, I can't talk today. And now we're getting some people in. Hello, Christine. How are you? Renee's here. Thanks. Caitlin's here. Hello, Caitlin. So we are in the beginning of 12 Days of Christmas, which Christina Quick does every single year. And I have been a part of her summit, I'm thinking maybe 3 or 4 years now. And I really love doing her summits, especially Yule. I love Yule. And so we're going to really talk about what's going on with Yule, how to create your hearth and home with Yule, some pagan kind of traditions with Yule. If there is anybody here live or catching the replay that is a pagan or a witch or a creatrix or works with the goddess or whatever you call yourself, and you are a practitioner of the craft, whatever the craft may be for you, please give me some hearts up, some thumbs up, so that I know that my witchy sisters are here, my witchy brothers are here, and we are connected in circle with the like-mindedness of Yule, in the season of Yule. So while you're putting that in the comments, I'm drinking regular pomegranate tea, iced tea. I'm in Austin, Texas, and I was going to do hot tea, pomegranate hot tea today, but it's hot in Austin, and I'm like, I am not doing hot tea today. I will make myself some cold pomegranate tea. So that is what I am sipping on today. Let me catch up on comments and say hello to everyone and welcome. So Davine is here, and if I butcher your name, I apologize in advance. I am horrible with names, as you will find out in a little bit when I try to speak in the old Scandinavian language and try to pronounce some of these names. Virginia, hello, thank you for being here. And Caitlin. And Christina's here, yay, Christina. Raises broom, yeah, Christina's on board with me with Yule. Pagan folk, dark witch, yes, I love it, Caitlin, love it, Caitlin. Renee's here, she's a witch too. It's warm here today. I know, I hate it. That's the one thing I don't like about being in the South is, well, where I'm at in the South, we don't get much of a winter at all, really. So I kind of miss that that time when you have the fire going and your apple cider going and the lights are going and you're just cuddled up with a hot cup of cider, and you know you have all of the tidings going on, and you kind of, I miss that. But we'll talk about that, how to bring that into your hearth and home. Hey Kimberly, how are you? Jennifer's here. And let's see. Awesome. I think we're good. So we have a lot of new people in the group, a lot of new faces that I don't recognize, which is good. I always love newbie witches and kind of fresh meat, right? So let me talk to you a little bit about who get into Yule. Hey Katie, thanks for joining me live. So my name is Madam Z, and I am a magical life coach and a female empowerment leader. And I remove all the fluff and all the BS from witchcraft so you can get to Witchin FAST. I am the head mistress of Master Your Magic Facebook group, and also the High Priestess Academy and my online school, Witchy School of Wisdom. So whatever you're into, I have got you covered with the basics, with in-depth stuff, with 12-month academy deep dive into your magic. Anything you want to learn about magic, I am your go-to person. I've been doing this for at least 25 plus years, maybe going on 26 now. The last time I counted, if I can remember right. And just a little bit of backstory about how I started my path. Well, I was a Christian for a long time. Aw, thanks, Caitlin. Caitlin's in my academy, and we just had our Yule ritual yesterday. So, we had a great time, super excited about that. Set our intentions for next year. So that's very important also. So I was started off as a Catholic, as a Christian and I was in that for the majority of the beginning of my upbringing. And then I kind of saw the light, for lack of a better word. I never really resonated with it. I just kind of did what I was expected to do, what, the norm is, normal Christian stuff. Hey, Mario, how are you? So glad that you're here. Mario also does a summit too, so we're glad to have Mario with us. So if any of you are a previous Christian and coming out of the witchy broom closet, please let me know. Give me some hearts up or some thumbs up that you're kind of ready to move out of the Christian kind of vibe and you're ready to move into the empowerment of the female witch or the male witch, whatever you want to call yourself. I've been where you were at. I was raised in the South the majority of my life, where it was very much you couldn't be anything but a Christian out loud. So I held my faith and my beliefs to myself for a very long time because I was in the public eye. I had I have an MBA, so most of my career was corporate America, and you could not wear your pentacles. You had to conform. You had to say, yes, this is what I'm doing, and whatever, if you went against the grain. Renee said, ex-evangelical. Oh, wow. Apparently I'm talkative. I love it, Caitlin. I love it when you're talkative. Oh, Divine has her little witch emoji. I love that. And Catherine, hello. So a lot of us struggle with that. So I know what it's like when you're coming out of the broom closet, when you don't have that support. Maybe you're in a small town, and or maybe you are fear of losing your job, and you're trying to keep the muggle life and the spiritual life and your magic kind of in balance, and it's tough, I know. So I left that a long time ago, and I decided to go into my business full-time. So this is what I'm doing full-time, and Kristen said the corporate life is just as impressive as any other institution. It's horrible for me. And I was pretty successful, but I knew that I would only be a success to a certain point because I was really bad at playing the corporate game and just going along with what everybody said and just being that yes person. I had a hard time with that, and I knew that if I didn't keep my mouth shut, then I would not climb the corporate ladder as much as I did. And I was like, I'm not playing this game anymore. So I left the corporate world. Caitlin says small town witch represent. Yes, Caitlin's in a small town too. And you guys are lucky now that, because when I started, this is way before the internet and way before, witching was the cool thing to do, right? So I've been doing this for a very long time. And we had to really dive deep into our magic, and we had to find that mentor. It was not available as it is now. So, and the stigma of being a witch isn't what it used to be anymore. So I'm very thankful that it has come more into light. You're more empowerment, and you don't have to be in the closet anymore like I was for a very long time because of society. So I am super excited about that. So you don't have any fear of coming out of the broom closet anymore as much as you used to in the old days. And Catherine said politics are often the death of us. Yes. And the death of good impactful work in corporate life. Yeah, I struggled with that for a very long time. And with the Yule, and here's the thing, we were talking about this yesterday, how one of my friends works from home, and she's a heathen. And she's like, I kind of miss going into, my corporate job for the potlucks and the Christmas tree and having to pick the Christmas music and all the decorations and all the secret Santas and I'm like, yeah, I miss that too. But when we decorated the Christmas tree, I was like, I had to keep my mouth shut because I was like, this is not Christian, right? This comes from a pagan Yule celebration, but couldn't say shit. I had to keep my little mouth shut, and I had to put the little ornaments on there and sing, what is it, manger, baby manger, kind of whatever it was. And I had to oh my God, be so oppressed because I was like, this is not what Yule is about. It's not a Christian holiday. So it's a struggle. It's a struggle. And I was like, you guys wouldn't like it if I bought my big old huge Yule log in, now would you? It's a struggle, but you gotta keep your pick your battles, and you gotta. It's a live in the Muggle world when you're embracing your witch. It's a huge struggle. Zoom Christmas parties. I know we need to have a Zoom Christmas. That's what Yule is. That's what the Yule ritual was a Zoom Christmas party. So we had a good time. So let's dive deep into what Yule is about. So does anybody here have their Yule log ready, or they have all of their greenery out already? I'm going to tell you what I have going on. I am working this year with more organic kind of decorations. I have a hot pot, or an intentional pot, simmering on my stove already. I started this morning, and I sliced up all of my apples, my oranges, tangerines, grapefruit. I put lemons in there too, and I have them in the oven drying because I am going to string it with natural hemp string and with cranberries and with rosemary. Sprigs of rosemary is going to be in that. So all of my things that I'm going to be working with this year is not going to be the whole kind of artificial stuff. I wanted to work this year with more Nordic kind of energy, and we're going to talk about that. So, and more natural kind of greenery instead of the stuff that you get at Hobby Lobby, or, Hobby Lobby and pagans, that's a whole other live video that I need to do. So Jennifer says, went foraging this week for pine cones and greens. Yes, yes. We don't have pine cones here. We don't have pines right where I'm at. The closest pine tree to us is probably 2 hours away. So I may have to get pine cones at HEB. So, and getting you some pine. Oh yeah, Caitlin's gonna send me some pine. Yeah, need some pine. Because we don't have access to pine here except for, hey MJ. MJ's in my academy too, except for about 3 hours away. So I'm working with more Nordic kind of energy this year. I'm working with Odin as Santa Claus. Is anybody here working with Odin this year for Yule? Don't come for us Hobby Lobby pagans. I know, right? Here's my take on Hobby Lobby pagans. We don't have a lot of Hobby Lobbies around here. But I don't give a shit about who gets my money, because I am making all of my stuff from Hobby Lobby into pagan traditions, pagan crafts, pagan energy, pagan rituals. So that's what I think about it. That's what I think. But I have a very strong sense of opinion about stuff, so that's just me. I'm all about intent. MJ's working with Odin too. So Odin is the original Saint Nick, or the grandfather. So let's talk about Yule and how we can work with Yule. So I hope that you're going to be enjoying this. Gives you really some energy into crafting your magical hearth and your Yule home. So it's a wonderful magical season of lights. I can't wait to go look at lights. I go almost every day, every night around our neighborhood to look at the lights. I don't have lights myself because I don't want to store all the string lights. I keep battery operated candles for that. Easy to put up, easy to take down. But I don't have any children, so I don't have to create that for the kids. But I do love, when I get older, the ease of putting things up and the smaller and more meaningful kind of decorations for me. It's about giving and heart-centered energy. This is what we're working with this season. The season of giving, of thanks, of gratitude, and of receiving, which a lot of us have problems with receiving. So I want to share with you some traditional Yule celebrations that I use. I shared a little bit of what I'm doing today, but I want to share some stuff with you that you can use on an everyday basis to get your Witchin FAST and make it simple. A lot of you guys are afraid to do any rituals because you're afraid that it's very intensive. It's very takes a lot of time, and you're afraid that you're going to screw shit up. But I keep it very simple, so that way you don't feel intimidated, you don't feel like you can't do it, and you can use 3 or 4 different things, and you can get to doing your ritual fast. So let's talk about the Wheel of the Year and the turning of the Wheel of the Year. So Yule is the celebration of the turning of the Wheel of the Year, which I live a cyclical life. I do all of my planning around the Wheel of the Year. So we celebrate the shortest day of the year, also known as the winter equinox. So you may not celebrate Yule, but you may celebrate the winter equinox, which is fine. We don't care. It's fine. The earliest celebration of Yule can be found in ancient Rome, Celtic, and Norse traditions. And that's why I want to bring in more Norse Scandinavian traditions this year, because I've really been drawn to them for this year. And I think it's because I miss the cold. And I miss the warm bread that comes out of the oven, and the hearth, and the simmering cider. We talked about that. I kind of missed that this year. So bringing in the energy of the Nordic just brings in that wintry mix, that weather, that sweater weather, the coziness, the flannel, the comfort, the wool. So I think that's why I'm missing it. That's why I'm working with them this year. So, and did you know that Yule has it's a 12-day holiday. That's where the 12 days of Christmas comes in. It begins on Mother's Night, which is December 21st. So what I say, if you want to celebrate the 12 days of Yule, start lighting a candle every single day for 12 days. And what are you giving thanks for every time you light a candle? What are you giving to other people? What do you want to receive this year? What do you want to bring to fruition next year? So it starts on December 21st and ends 12 days after Yule night, which is January 1st is Yule night. It's the origin of Christian 12 days of Christmas. Interesting. Super interesting. And we're going to talk a little bit about some other interesting stuff. And I'm sure y'all know that most of Christian things are, not Christian things, but Christian holidays are pagan based, right? Let me catch up on comments. And going to connect with La Befana from the Italian Old Word tradition. Awesome. Hearth, my health greatly improved when I started living by the wheel. Isn't it weird how that happens? When you start working with the Wheel of the Year and you start living your life in flow instead of going against the grain. We're meant to live in a cyclical life for sure. So, Yule season is the time when the young oak king and the old holly king fight and battle each other for supremacy. It kind of reminds me of those two bucks that just want to like fight each other out so they can have reign over the deer and the female does kind of thing. They're just fighting each other out. It's the old story of out with the old, in with the new, the rising and the setting of the sun. It's kind of like that old kind of energy. So it's a battle for supremacy, just as they do in the Midsummer Festival. At the Midsummer Festival, the Holly King battles the Oak King and wins their campaign. The Holly King reigns until the start of winter, which is the beginning of Yule. So you'll see this whole big battle through the whole Wheel of the Year between the Oak King and the Holly King. Because sometimes you sit back and you're like, really, dudes, can you just sit your ass down, stop fighting each other all the time? We know what's going to happen. Just come hang out, fix you a plate, get you some, mulled cider or some meat, and chill out. Nobody wants to see two men fighting it out for some kind of stupid stuff. But anyways, it's just fun. It's just, lightheartedness. So, and then the Oak King is reborn again and prepares the battle of the Holly King and the rule over the land once more for his season. So now it's his time. He's like, yes. He's going to have that puffed up chest, and he's like, yes, I won. I'm the ruler for my time. And then the season and the cycles repeat itself again. So both of these celebrations show how ancient pagans had a strong tie with honoring the solstices throughout the entire year. The winter solstice brings the return of the sun and longer days, and the celebration of the survival of the cold winter months. So we made it. We survived the cold winter months. Let's catch up on comments. Our ancestors didn't have UFC on TV, I know, right? It's the battle royale between the Oak King and the Holly King. Who's gonna win? So let's get kind of down and dirty and real with witchcraft in Yule. We aren't about to chop down a whole tree, right, and place it on our hearth and let it stick out of the living room, because back in the old days you would chop down a tree and that's how you would stay warm. You would have this big hearth, big fireplace, and you would put the log in there and it'd stick out in half of your living room, if not the whole part of your living room, and that fire was lit for 24 hours. All the time it was going, and you would just slowly squish the tree into the fireplace as it continually starts to burn. That's how you keep your hearth warm. That's how you keep your home warm. That's how you keep the hearth fires burning, is with that Yule log or with that tree. We're not going to do that. We're probably not even going to make a Yule log. I do every year. A lot of witches may not, because they may not have access to a tree farm, or maybe they don't even have a fireplace. So it just depends on what you have available to you. So let's chat about how we can bring the traditional ways of celebrating Yule into your everyday magical practice. So here are 13 simple, fast, easy ways to celebrate Yule and make your hearth more magical. Decorate a tree with ornaments and bless each one with health, wealth, prosperity, happiness, forgiveness, abundance. And before you hang them on there, I usually breathe over it and just put like my breath over it, my essence, and bring that wish to fruition. Now, I purchased, and I wish they got here before today, but they're supposed to be here tomorrow, of course. But I bought some old Scandinavian straw ornaments to go on my tree this year. I'm not doing any shiny thing, any tinsel, any artificial stuff. It's all going to be made out of rosemary, straw, everything natural. So they're going to go on my tree, and I'm not even going to actually have a tree this year, because I don't want to do this is so sad as a pagan, but I don't want to chop down a tree. I just don't want to deal with that. I don't want to have to deal with having to dispose of that. So I am purchasing these small, well, they're about this big, rosemary that will go in. They're shaped in a shape of a Christmas tree or a Yule tree. So they will go either outside and I will decorate them, or they will go on my hearth and I will decorate them. And that way but rosemary is also used for protection. So that will protect my home during the winter months. So hang evergreens or wreaths around the house. Have a small Yule log. I just started creating my Yule log. I use 3 candles, green, red, and gold. And I have to go get the holly and the evergreens tonight or tomorrow and start making that log, and that will go on my mantelpiece. Make a small Yule log and put it on the coffee table or over the fireplace, is what I'm probably going to do. Make an edible Yule log. This is really good for kitchen witches. And this is another one, really good tip, if you actually don't have a fireplace. You can make an edible Yule log, or you can purchase one. Make some cider or mulled wine. Make some gingerbread cookies and use them as cute little puppets. Sing Yuletide songs, or you play pagan tunes on YouTube. I love YouTube. I'm a YouTube junkie. So while you're decorating the tree, you can sing pagan songs. You can have it playing in the background. You can have mulled wine and cider with a stick of cinnamon. Make gingerbread cookies. We talked about that. Spend the day with family making Yule crafts and baking Yule treats. That is the important thing to do. I saw this cool little meme, or it's the side of a bus or something, a couple days ago when I was riding around, and it said baking. What does it say? It said baking, bringing families together who have different political beliefs. And I thought that was the funniest thing ever. And I was like, that's very true. So we're putting all of our political beliefs aside this year. And if nothing else, for 2020 has taught us that we need to be thankful, we need to be respectful, and we need to bring forgiveness in our lives and bring that into 2021. So put candles in the windows and around your home to welcome in the sun. And recognize that Santa Claus is a multicultural icon. Meditate on the rising and setting solstice sun. Join others in a Yule ritual, even if it's over Zoom. I teach and I hold a lot of rituals online, and it is still powerful. And I don't want you to think that because you're not in person that you're not going to get the same thing out of a Yule ritual, because you will. If it's done right, it's done correctly, and you bring in the energy, you can still have a profound experience in a Zoom ritual. And of course, contribute to a charitable contribution that is near and dear to your heart. Remember, we are working with the heart chakra this season. So let's catch up on comments. Let's see. Chocolate Yule logs are so yum. Aren't they the best? So let's talk a little bit about the Yule log tradition. It goes back before the medieval times and the Norse tradition, and that's where it originated from. It was, and I talked about this before, it was traditionally a whole tree, okay? And can you imagine like bringing the whole tree into your living room? And if you have cats, I don't have cats. We've always had cats, though my family has. And those cats would just tear up that Christmas tree. They were like, yes, it's a big old, cat tree house. We can play around it and knock stuff down. So, and every year we would go out as a family to, we lived in Wyoming when we did this, and we would go chop down our tree. Or if we weren't able to, if we moved around a lot. So if we weren't able to, we would go to a tree farm and actually go in there and cut down the tree. But it was a big, huge family tradition for us to go chop down this tree together. So it was carefully chosen as a great ceremony and celebration around the choosing of the tree. And this is the funniest thing ever. And I remember this, I don't know, last year when I was thinking about this. So one of my friends who's very near and dear to my heart, very much like, she's African American and she's very much Southern, not even Baptist, I forget what she is, but very evangelical or whatever it is, right? Very charismatic, as I would say. So they would never allow any of them to have a Yule tree in their house, or a Christmas tree in their house, because their pastor said that you are not honoring baby Jesus, and you are worshiping the Yule, or he didn't even know what the Yule is really, are worshiping the Christmas tree over the baby Jesus. And I thought that was just a fucking crock of shit. I was like, are you seriously saying, because you think that we are idolizing false idols of the Christmas tree or the Yule log or the Yule tree, that you can't have a Christmas tree. I was like, I totally remember that. And I was like, that was so full of shit. I can't believe that I just didn't say something. But it wasn't my place to say anything. It wasn't my home. It wasn't my beliefs. So I was just like, that's just freaking insane. So, it's carefully chosen and a great ceremony. I still just roll my eyes at that when I think about that. And when you really picked out a tree. The largest part was placed in the hearth that we talked about, while the rest of the tree was hung out in the common area. Can you imagine though all the bugs and all the critters that you would have in your house, right? So, and the birds. So, the log was then lit from the previous year's log, the ashes, which was saved especially for that reason, and it was slowly burned and fed into the hearth over the next 12 days. So we can't celebrate Yule without having a Yule log or a Yule tree or some symbolism of a Yule tree. There are many Yule tree traditions that stem from the Celtic, Norse, and Germanic paths. So I've decided to talk about the Celtic lore since I'm partial and drawn to that ancestor path for sure. In the Celtic tradition, a Yule tree was a symbol of the goddess and was a sacred part of their worship. They decorated the Yule tree with images of the returning sun and things they wanted to manifest and bring into the new year, such as a corn, wheat harvest, happiness, success, and love. Let's look at comments. Disappointing. I know. I was like, why do you want to mess with some little kids? You know, they don't know. Little kids don't know about that stuff. They just know they're getting presents and they get to decorate the tree. You know, let the kids have some fun. So Kimberly said, Jehovah's Witnesses don't have trees for that reason you stated. Oh, okay. All right. They just want to rain in our parade, right? No fun. So let's look at correspondences that you can use for Yule. So, herbs. We're going to look at evergreen, holly, mistletoe, cedar, really any tree. Cedar, ash, bay, thistle, chamomile, frankincense, juniper, and pine. Stones are going to be your clear quartz. Your jet, which is going to be the dark part of the dark part of the year. Your ruby, your diamond, garnet, alexandrite, kunzite, citrine, which represents the sun. Green tourmaline, blue topaz, pearls, because that represents the goddess. Orange calcite, which represents the sun. And amarantine. What is it? Amarantine. How do you say that? Amarantine. So let's look at archetypes also. So for the female, this is the season of the year where we a little bit. So we have 3 crone energies. There's a 4th one that people keep talking about, and we're going to talk about that also. So we have the maiden and the crone and the mother, or if you want to go in order, maiden, mother, crone. Okay, so right now for Yule we are working with crone energy, the old wise woman energy. So any archetype that has to do with the crone energy is what you want to bring in. Now there's another school of thought that they think that there's a space that's missing, an archetype that's missing between the mother energy and the crone energy, because you're like, what about that space in between there, you know? Because I'm out of my childbearing years, but yet I'm not like 90s, so where's that space? So a lot of people are talking about bringing in the energy of the queen and making that a 4th archetype. The Holly Mother is the German Herlig who births light back to the world. And Uru, E-R-I-U, is a Celtic goddess of the wife of Lu. So if you're working with gods, so of course Father Time, an old man depicted turning the clock that represents the turning of the wheel of the year and the time is running out. The Holly King, the ruler of the winter months, And of course, we have Krampus, which I freaking love Krampus. I just got him out yesterday. As German in origin and Santa's horned helper. And that's a whole other discussion because I love working with Krampus. And of course, Odin. Right? So let's look at deities. As I take a sip of water. Is anyone going to be working with any year particular goddesses for Yule? I just have the regular winter goddess I'm working with. I don't have a specific goddess. Just an overall crone energy. So the deities you're going to work with Amaterasu, which is Japan. Baba Yaga, which is Slavic. I love her. Kalik, which is Celtic. Demeter, which is Greek. Hodar, which is Norse. And Saturn, which is Roman. So let's look at herbs also. We're going to have cardamom. I just put, this is so funny because I just put cardamom in my intention simmer pot. Cinnamon, cloves, nutmeg, peppermint, rosemary, and sage. Your trees are cedar, evergreen, holly, pine, and spruce. Your colors are green, gold, ice blue, red, and white. And your metals are gold and any kind of lead. Your animals are bear, of course, cows, or oxen, or reindeer, right? Horse, ravens, and stags. Your symbols are going to be your cauldron, which represents your hearth. Any darkness symbols, evergreens, light, trees, wreaths, Yule logs. And for all your tarot lovers, right, raise your hand if you're a tarot lover and you use tarot cards for any kind of divination or insight. Celtic goddesses. Yeah, I love hearing the different names of the old. I'm probably butchering them, Kristen, but thank you for that. So tarot cards for this year is going to be the Hermit card, the Magician card, the Pentacle, Suit of Pentacles, the World card. Okay. So any other, let's talk about some kind of kitchen magic and some Yule crafts that you can bring into the making your hearth more, your house more Yule. Tarot, yeah, me too. I love tarot. It's my favorite thing. One of my favorite things. So make some wassail. Make some mulled cider. Make some hot cider or mulled wine. And you can use, I'm just going to go over this really, really fast. Your wassail recipe is going to be apple cider, cinnamon sticks, allspice, nutmeg, sliced apples, sliced oranges, raisins or cranberries or dry fruit, and a dash of red wine. And let's be honest, we're going to use more than a damn dash of red wine, apple brandy, or just plain brandy. And you're going to put that on the stove and simmer it. But when you put all of this stuff together, I want you to intentionally think about, what does cinnamon sticks stand for magically? What does allspice stand for magically? What does nutmeg represent? So this is what we call an intentional pot. You are looking all of this, putting all this together, but you are not just dumping it in there, right? And turning on a high and just let it, your cauldron bubble. You are thinking about what all these herbs represent while you're doing it, and you're giving it an intention of, the cinnamon is going to be for a catalyst of my spell. My apples are going to be for prosperity and the goddess energy and fertility, not necessarily having babies. And, your red wine is for wealth and abundance. And you're going to really think about what all of that means while you're doing this and putting it in your pot. So you can also make gingerbread, and you can get ingredients off of gingerbread, off the internet too, about gingerbread. But using it as a puppet, you can put a person's name on the back. You can put that on your intentions on, maybe you have a family member that needs healing, or you need forgiveness. you can assign a specific gingerbread intention or a healing or a spell that needs to be done. You can use special ingredients for that. You can use your sigils on your gingerbread and use it as a poppet. Okay. Witch balls. I just put up my witch's balls yesterday. I make them every year and I hang them off my fireplace. So I love witch's balls. You can make witch's balls for everything. For Yule though, I get an empty ball ornament, a plastic one if you can, or I think they have glass too now. But get it empty. I think actually you can get them Hobby Lobby, but now I think you can get them at the dollar store. At least you can here, the Dollar Tree. And you can put chamomile in there, cinnamon sticks, orange peel, cedar, pine, cloves, juniper berries, mistletoe, holly, lavender, rosemary, citrine stones, star anise. I love star anise. Amethyst, clear quartz. A drop of pine essential oil, a drop of orange essential oil, drop of sage essential oil, and cinnamon essential oil. And then I decorate it with all of my evergreens, my ribbons, pine cones, and I hang them from my door to protect my house, and I hang them from my altar space, and I also hang them from my hearth for protection. Alright, so any other questions? We have about 15 minutes. Penguin, you never done a witch's ball? Girl, I thought for sure that you have done a witch's ball. We need to fix that. Great idea infusing the gingerbread. I never thought about that. Yeah, we had a discussion about that yesterday about how to use gingerbread as poppets. So, you can do a lot of things with gingerbreads. Gingerbread's just not for eating anymore. You know, it's like you can do all kinds of things with gingerbread and the form of that person. But I did want to talk to you a little bit about the Yule goat, and I'm so mad that my decorations did not get here, because it does. You'd think with all the crafts I do that you would do a Yule ball. Exactly. So you would think with all the my decorations that are coming in, that I just repeated, Caitlin, that I hate that it's not here because I wanted it to be here before today, but it's not. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the tradition of the Yule goat, since a lot of you may be working in the Norse traditions this year and with Odin. So the Yule goat is a Scandinavian Christmas tradition based on Norse legends and the worship of the god Thor. And I want to tell you a little bit story about this. And in the comments, I want you to tell me what this story reminds you of in the Christian faith. Okay? And I'm just reading this off of the Ancient Pagan Pages website. So, let's see. The history of the Yule goat goes back several thousands of years, and there are many ancient myths and legends that shows how important this animal is to our ancestors. In some Norse myths, god Thor was said to be riding a flying chariot drawn by two goats. It was believed that the goats, I'm going to butcher this name, Tangrisinir, or Gaptooth, and Tanginistor, or Tooth Grinder, who pulled Thor's chariot, provided food for the gods and for his friends. People in Scandinavia were not the only ones to understand the value of the Yule goat. From Slavic mythology, we learned the sun god Dasbog was represented by a white goat. Kolada, or the Yule, ancient pre-Christian Slavic winter festival that was later incorporated into Christmas, started to honor the god of fertile sun and the harvest. The Koliada festival always had a person dressed as a goat after demanding offerings in the form of presents. So the Yule goat origins go back to ancient pagan festivals. Okay, so that's why I wanted to bring more Slavic kind of energy into my practice this year. So what story does that remind you of? Of Thor? What Christian story does that remind you of? Waiting. I'll wait. You can pop it in the comments of the Thor's story of the chariot. Bueller, anyone, Bueller? Do I have to tell y'all? I'm about to tell y'all. So, it reminds you of Santa Claus pulling his sleigh through the winter sky, the night sky, dropping off presents to all of the children, right? See how that kind of goes hand in hand? So it's very interesting, those traditions. So, any questions about how you're going to be bringing in the Yule tradition into your hearth, into your home, and how you can make that more magical, and how you can honor your ancestors during this time, and your old family traditions? If you have an old family recipe or a tradition, please make sure that you revisit that. Slay, yes, slay. So, let me take a drink. I have a couple freebies for you. I have one awesome freebie for you. But I have a thing coming up Friday, and I'm going to tell you about. Let me get my bit.ly link here. So, I'm going to drop this in the comment, and this is a link to get the information on my 5-day Unleash Your Inner Witch free challenge. So, that better be right. Let me make sure that link works. Because if it doesn't, I'm going to be mad. Hold on. Should work. Maybe not. Hold on, y'all. Let me see if I can delete that, because that's the wrong one. If it'll let me delete it. So don't get that link. How do you do gift giving for Yule? Usually gift giving for Yule for me is you just get one present. And it used to be where we would do handmade gifts every year instead of store-bought gifts. So every year, it's funny because in my tradition, we used to have my dad play Santa every year. So he would pick out the gifts every year under the tree. So that is how we would do gift giving in our tradition. It would be made of homemade kind of things, natural stuff. And we would all put them back under the tree, and everybody would say a blessing over it. Handmade is how I do it, yes. Yep. So let me get this thing. Hold on a second. Where did it go? I will drop that freebie in the group later on. I just had it, and I can't believe that my link isn't working. But it's okay. Don't be upset about that. I will get it to you. That's just so weird that it didn't work. I bet you I pulled it over from another one. So, I will grab that, and that is going to give you a link to my free 5-day Unleash Your Inner Witch challenge. And that is a free challenge for you if you're ready to embrace your inner witch, if you're ready to let go of things that are no longer serving you, if you're ready to embrace and just bust open from the witchy broom closet. That's going to give you 5 days of PDFs and 5 days of videos, and you're going to get every day a prompt that you need to journal on, you need to release, you need to actually dive deep into some things that you need to release and let go of, things that are keeping you back from embracing that inner witch. It's an awesome free day free 5-day challenge. Yeah, Caitlin says she does handmade too. But this, let me see, Friday, I have a spirit talk communication going on session Friday. So anybody who purchases off of this 12-day Christmas summit will get a free session with me, private session. But let me drop that into, I thought I had this. I don't have that either. So it's been a crazy day today. So I'll get you the link to that also. I'll drop all of it in the content. So if you purchase with me, let me drop that link because it's just a bit.ly link. And we're going to do a lot of spirit connection, spirit talk, private. It's kind of like calling in the spirits around what needs to be happening in 2021 for you. If you need guidance on what's coming up, if you need to speak to some guides, some ancestors, if you need to speak to anything that you need guidance with or help with or insight with, or you need to, just feel free to just embrace your inner witch and you need some support behind that, this spirit talk session is going to be happening on Friday. I'm getting my days messed up. So, and as a special, anybody who purchases that $97 ticket will get a free one-on-one private session with me. And my seances are a little bit different than what we see. This is we're going to bring in the goddesses. We're going to bring in our ancestors if we need to, our spirit guides. It's going to be almost like a old Victorian. And it's kind of going to be a workshop slash, yeah, Caitlin, get him. A workbook kind of class and a spirit session together. Because I'm gonna put everybody in the hot seat. Everybody gets a spot. And here's the thing, you're probably like, Madam Z, how do you choose who goes first? I choose who goes first, who actually purchases a ticket first. So I'm gonna go in order. So that way you get in on the hot seat, but you also get to hang out with me and you get to see and take notes about how I conduct a seance, a spirit connection session, a mediumship session. So you can get your one-on-one kind of session, your hot seat, and you get to ask any questions you want to. And then you get to hang out and you actually get to take notes on what I'm doing. And you get to observe and you get lifetime access to that. It's working good. So, but I'm just offering this to this group for whoever purchases off of this summit gets another private one-on-one 45-minute session with me where we can dive deeper into what's going on with you. What's blocking you? Why aren't you embracing your inner witch? And here's the thing, I'm going to use all kinds of divination tools. I'm a divination freaking junkie. Only a couple spots left. Yeah, I only have 10 spots. I'm only bringing 10 people in. And it goes away, doors close on Thursday, actually. Our session is on Friday at 6 p.m., but doors close on Thursday. So with ancestors, guides, maybe a being will come in, maybe a light being, or maybe an alien's gonna come in, or who, we're opening up. No demons, don't freak out, y'all. That's a whole other thing. If you want to be part of my world, this is what you need to get into it, because it's not what it is, what you think spirit communication is. I'm going to be using pendulum, tarot card, maybe some candle magic, maybe some wax divination. Whatever spirit wants you to communicate with you and give you answers, that's what we are going to work with. And you get to see how I do it firsthand. But I will drop that link to my freebie in the description, because I do want you to get that freebie, that Unleash Your Inner Witch 5-day channel. So you will get that. challenge, you'll get that. So whoever purchases that spirit session talk with me for this Friday is going to get a private additional session with me, and that's just for here. Any questions before we go? We have about 5 minutes, and I'll put all of that in the description, so in the comment section, in the description of the video. So don't be afraid if you don't have it. I'm gonna put all the links in there. You're gonna be good. I got you. I got you. I will never leave you hanging. So does this bring some joy and some Yule magic into your life? This is what I'm hoping. I'm hoping this will get you started in making all those awesome Yule traditions. Caitlin says she's got to go. Caitlin's not going to be far from me. Bye, Caitlin. We'll see you in the academy. No demons, I'm out. I know. All right, so no demons, no demons. It's kind of like, you know, that show, No Whammy, No Whammy. You're like, no demons, no demons, no demons. All right, my witchy sisters, thank you for hanging out with me, and I'll get all those links posted. If you have any questions, please send me a friend request and join my Facebook in there also. And shoot me a message. I am a real person behind this video. I will answer any of your questions that you have about the Academy, about my Spirit Talk sessions, about the Facebook group, about working with the Wheel of the Year. Aw, thanks, Kristen. I got lots of great ideas. Looking up making Yule log. Yeah. So send me a message. Connect with me. I'm always here for you to answer any of your questions. All right, witchy sisters, we will see you later on, and enjoy the rest of the 12 days of Christmas Telesummit. And again, thanks again, Christina, for having us. Blessed be every